Good evening, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the think show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And do you ever ask yourself, how did we end up in this position that we're in now? I mean, you got to ask yourself that. How did we end up in the position we are in now? Where we don't know nothing. We only get our information from other people. We never figure things out for ourselves. We always asking other people about us. And so this is what this is going to be about. This is going to be a little short rant, but just hear me out and pay attention to what's going on, and follow the breadcrumbs to where they lead, which is now. So I want to share a couple of images with you. This is the first one I want to share. We wonder how we get in this position. This isn't Africa. This isn't the Caribbean. This is here. This is New Orleans. See, when you go back and pull up those old newspaper articles, you go back to those universities and go down into their library, this is the kind of stuff that you pull out. This is the kind of stuff that you see. What is going on? These men are selling their mothers and sisters to the foreigners. It's the exact same thing that the Negroes do today. The exact same thing. Didn't you have the cats in the top hats telling you how to vote and what to do and when Jesus is coming back? They just selling you to them. This is a picture. This is interpretation of it. Who are those Negroes wearing top hats? Come on, who are those Negroes wearing top hats? And they don't look like no Africans to me. How Africans gonna get off a slave ship and then put on the top hat? And this is where we are. We believe we all twisted up in it, don't know. Look at the image. Look at the little boy in the street selling fruit. Got the locks going, selling fruit. That fruit could be incense. That fruit could be crack. Right? Who are the cats in the top hat? Where'd they get their top hats from? Where'd they get their suits from? Indigenous men in America don't dress like that. They don't make hats like that. And why are all the women looking at the ground? They're in shame. Because this is why we're in the present situation that we are now. All that arguing and dumb shit that we do, it doesn't help us at all. And we are too childlike to even change our minds. We won't even try to do better, even for the kids. So they won't grow up and suffer what their parents and grandparents are suffering. We won't even do this. This is that. So remember, these cats, this picture is about mid 1850s. What you call African Americans, they are totally devoid of this. Because at this time, they weren't called African Americans. Because they got to change their names their identity every generation or so. So when you ask, because the youngsters be asking me all the time, how do we get in this situation? How did we get in this situation? How did sisters? It's cool to rob brothers. How did we get to the point where you call your women bitches? That happened a while ago. But how do we fall into that? The people who give you birth, the people who help you in your reproduction process, you call them bitches and hoes. And then years later, you want to box them. And the state sanctions it. This is what I mean, getting rid of you. This is how far you've sunken. This image you see on the screen, this is just the beginning. What happened? White boy told him, look, man, I need you to get me my money. To the Indian man, the females made up the majority. They had the crops. Why? Because they knew what to grow. The women had the medicine. After eons, years of perfecting their place on the earth, these cats in the top hats let other people come in and take your shit. And many of you love those cats in the top hats. You couldn't fathom life without them. And they have you in the certain situation you are now. Tell you what to do. They run your churches. They run your governments. I'm talking about the Negroes in the top hats. They're the same ones in the same spot doing the same shit today. And you cool with it. And got your women and you in the same position. Now, I want to share another image, same time frame, but just a different picture. It's the same. You'll see the similarities. So you see that one right there. That's the first one. This one, same thing. Who the cats in the top hats? Who are they looking at papers? These Army Confederate, these dudes in the Army and stuff, huh? Selling your old man. Here, who's this cat in the top hat right here? Who's this cat? Do you know how much a cat like this would be worth? An old cat like this, an elder. You know how much he would be worth? He would be top dollar. Not because he couldn't have any physical strength, because his mind was right. He knew what to do. He's seen it all. They tell you they paid nothing for him, that he was top dollar. He had the wisdom, which is something that we don't appreciate today, because we'll throw our elderly people in a goddamn old folks home in a minute and sell the family house. Amen. Isn't that what the Negro does? Ain't that what we do? Squander everything we have? Ain't that what we do? This is why we're in the position that we are in today. This is why we're in the position that we're in. I mean, anybody serious in the chat, if I'm lying, tell me. Tell me. Because we treat each other like shit. We're always arguing and bickering and bullshitting and talking about shit that don't matter. Why you out here lying to your people? Why you out here telling your people they from other places? Why are you not even trying to look for your history? Not forget somebody else's. I was talking to a sister, and all along all on her bookcase, all she had was Stephen King books. And I was supposed to be impressed because she spoke nice. She spoke cute. That's what we fall into. You have children out here who are brilliant. Brilliant. And won't even make a better world for them. That's the African American. That's what the African American, Black, Negro, colored do. They do what their bosses tell them to do. They do nothing else. Amen. Amen. This is what you do, but I say it and you mad at me. So this is how you got started in that. See, remember, you have to remember, when these Europeans came up and set up their cities, they just had them in certain areas, up in New York, the colonies, they were certain places. The people who lived on the land weren't in those colonies. They lived on the land. They were doing what they were doing before they got here. They got here, and these cats in the top hats were the people they bought. Some of them came from England. Some of them came from England. And they lured you in with the promise of a good job. You could get a top hat like that. You could have some suspenders. Start pulling you from the land in. The clothes you wore that weren't good anymore, you wanted what they had. This is where the Negro is today. This is where the Negro is today. He doesn't know anything. If he wants information, he goes to his boss and gets it. It's not true. It never happened if his boss didn't tell him it didn't happen, right or wrong. The Negro never thinks. He never looks at it from his point of view. Never. He always looks at it from somebody else's point of view. That's all right. I'm right or wrong. Come on. I see you got some brothers agreeing with me, but come on, y'all. This is what we gonna leave for our children? Really? Just to end up in an old folks home and all your wealth turned over to whoever buys it? This is what you leave to your children? And if somebody calls you a dumb nigger, you mad. You mad. And that's exactly what you are. You have all these foreigners coming over here squatting on your land, and you helping them. You helping them. Oh, you don't care. You don't care. All your historically Black colleges and university, they're not yours no more. They're foreigners. All they got to do is mix in with you, and you let anybody mix in with you, right? Right? You can fuck anybody. Your man, I go to Brazil. I go get these women. He don't act right. Women do the same shit. What that does, it keeps you from reproducing with each other. It keeps you from keeping the American current growing, or whatever you want to call it. You can call it the people you come from. You can call it whatever. But when you sever that cord, we all get weaker. And many of you do it on purpose because the way you were treated as a child. I understand. So when you do that, just know that you're going to have to repeat it again. Because we're here to learn. We're not here to be some driven, ego-driven asshole. We're here to learn. Amen. So the pictures that you see is just a reminder. This is how we started. And the people in the top hats, they get money. What were they buying? Guns. So whenever you see the old pictures of the Indians with a gun, those people are on the side of the colonizers. Why? Because you didn't make guns. You didn't produce them. Do you ever ask yourself that? No. Where'd the guns come from? The guns they had, those one-shot guns, they wasn't good enough because they had to reload those after one shot. By that time, you was on that ass. So they started doing rapid fire. They got better at it with your help. With your help. Because you always help your massa. Then try to act like you don't. See, that's the thing that gets me. We try to pretend like we don't. See, we try to pretend like all these nations over here are nations that America fought previously. I mean, all you have to do is go on YouTube and look at the interviews of the people who went over and fought in them wars, and they'll tell you what they did, and they have no remorse about it. And they got many Negroes just doing the same thing. Because we know nothing about our culture, don't care. We know nothing about our culture. We don't know what we did. We don't know what death means. We don't know the time on the planet because we don't have one because we always going to somebody else asking them for the time. That's the African American. That's the Negro. I mean, won't even go down to, so say your people's from, I don't know, say your people from Birmingham, Alabama. You got people from Alabama won't even go check the towns, the little towns and sites and libraries to find out about their people. That's one of the easiest ways you do it. Negroes always was doing something where they live. How you think all these ideas are coming up? They're getting them off you. Why you think all these foreigners are coming over here? Because they're coming to get you. You're the natural resource. No, I ain't no natural resource, nigga. You don't tell me who I am. That's how we roll. Right? Right? You have the world set up on your doorstep. Little Bangladesh. For real, cuz? They got little Detroit in Bangladesh. See, that's when Negroes, they don't talk. No, I ain't never heard of it. That's the Negro. Getting pimped. Getting pimped right in his land. And he has beat his chest out and go rob an old lady down the street. That's the African American Negro. I mean, show me where the education of your kids. Show me how, since the schools done shut down and became all disarray, show me the African American who's always gotten screwed over in the education system. Show me how they're educating your children, right now. Pick a state. Pick a state. Won't even fathom ideas. I told a sister, why don't we just do something where the state of Washington teach their best indigenous teachers teach our kids for a week in Washington and go through all 50 states. They laughed at it. We won't even contemplate ideas. We won't even try nothing new. You get ideas all day long. All day long. They streaming. But they got you streaming on Netflix. And then when somebody come, they got cats, 25, 26, 27-year-old married dudes. Brilliant. Women are brilliant. We don't even want to hang around them and let some of their brilliance rub off on us. This is what we doing. This is how I make my living. Nigga, make it somewhere else. So I got in it with this brother. He talking about he plays the stock market. I'm like, oh. I say, so what stocks, what are some of the indigenous companies that you guys are, putting your money into helping that business grow? Now this is a Negro. He pretended like he didn't understand what I was talking about. You don't have your own as a nation of people. You think you're going to make it on this planet being individuals? The past 20 years has shown you that won't work. I mean, we can go back further, but some of it we start forgetting. I forgot, huh? That's how we do. How was that? How is that we in the wrong place at the wrong time? We never know nothing. We wait. We bow at the feet for them to come tell us what's right and what's wrong. Amen? Right? This cat right here, Tyrone Kennard. I think this brother's only 24. When you teach your kids the right way when they're young, when they grow up, it's like I told this Christian lady, what's that old thing they say, teach a child to go and he shall not depart? That stuff that, the church teaches, but it's not from the church. Because that's what the people here were doing. If you talk to the old people and you ask them, well, why did so many of the women have so many babies? Because my grandmother had 13 kids. And that's nothing compared to some of these kids these women had. Why did they have so many children? They didn't look at them as children. She didn't look at them as 13 children. She looked at them as 26 hands. Why? Because they were building. They were making stuff. They were using their ingenuity in their minds. There was no problem because they all came together to solve it. Which is, I don't know why we're not doing that now. Yeah, I do. Because we don't know who we are. We look at other people's, culture and how they did it, and we try to do it, and it never works for us because we're not them. I mean, damn, this shit is simple, y'all. This shit is simple. Ants figure it out. So, as long as you own this stuff that all these people bring over and you want to eat what they come up with, and as long as you do that, you'll be in the position that you are in. Every one of you should ask yourself, do you have more stuff in your house made by other people, or do you have more stuff in your house made by you? I ain't got nothing to do with it. Do you have more stuff in your house made by you, your friends, your family, brothers you know who build furniture and whatnot, sisters who sew and do curtains and stuff? Do you have more stuff, brothers who make plates and forks and knives and do you? Brothers who make refrigerators, brothers who make washer and dryers. What's up? We just, well, boss gonna make it. We just gonna get it from him. That's the Negro way of looking at things. That's the African American way of looking at things, because that's how they look at it, right? That's how they look at it. So if I'm lying, tell me. You ain't gonna come here and get no bullshit, because the time is too short for that. You can go and mind fuck yourself with all that other stuff. That shit ain't happening here. If you've ever heard the cries of a mother who lost their kid to some senseless bullshit, if you ever heard, it's not a cry, it's more like a wail. It's a horrible sound and feeling. If you ever heard a mother lose her son, daughter, or anybody to that, when she finds out the sound that she pulls, the sound that she makes, will rip your heart out your chest. So, at African Americans Ain't Africans, we ain't got time to sit up and bullshit you. You ought to know what's going on this planet at this time. And you ought to know how it affects you. All these Negroes that don't know, look, I don't know how they don't know. Because we're in 2010. They was talking this shit in 1960s. How don't we know? Why don't we never know nothing? Why do we always go fall for the banana in the tailpipe? Why? How is it that how you don't see how they're changing the landscape right in front of your face? And not once, not on one radio station, not DL Hughes, not none of them. You have heard a so-called African American say, you know what? It's time since we are being gentrified in these cities, it's time for us to, don't everybody else do it? Don't everybody else go back home off the money they made off you? And start building the towns where your people were from. That's another reason why genealogy is important. What are some of the natural resources around where your people were from that would benefit you right now? I don't know. I never thought of it. That's the Negro. That's how the Negro thinks. Seriously, y'all. How you think it is ain't. What do you say? You have a say in all of this. I know many of you don't think you do. You don't. I know. Your children gonna have a say. Even though you don't say shit, your children are gonna have a say. Because what you didn't do is gonna fall in the laps of your children. And your ass had better make sure they have the tools to deal with it. You just can't raise your kids thinking that the world is going to take care of them. It won't. So Do you ever ask yourself, how do we end up in this position? And what you see up on the screen is how. And what you see is going on today. You mean to have a grocery store? So this is the kind of stuff I think about. This is how come Negroes don't part their lips to me. This is what I'm thinking about. How come, let's take a city like Atlanta. How come the city of Atlanta doesn't have grocery stores with everything on the shelf? Everything that's sold in there is made by one of us. What would that do to the unemployment rolls? No, Happy Nation. No, yeah. It's not. It's not that all the. It's just too much information that's out there. Hey man, these 20-year-olds, they are way ahead of the adults because the adults have been bullshitting and playing around and haven't been sharing no information, ain't been giving us nothing. We got to go dig for stuff. We got to spend time digging. And when it can just be told to us by our elders. They have told us so much bullshit that kids don't even want to listen to them no more. And I don't blame them because I was one of them kids. Just saying dumb shit that don't make no sense is not helping us at all. At all. So, did you ever ask yourself, how do we get in this position? And you see it right there on the screen. You see it right there on the screen. Those people up there are the people telling us to take the COVID shot. That's who those people are. Same people. You ought to be able to look at it and tell. Though some of you may be totally devoid of yourself and don't recognize certain things. Tyrone Kennard say, we let Asians and Latino takes over our soul food and barbershops. What's up? Look what these cats saying. Look what these cats saying. Here's a brother just with a brand new baby. Huh? Atlanta at a joke. And he's right. What's with all the brothers in Atlanta not reproducing? What's up with that? If they're not reproducing, what are they going to produce? Nothing. This is simple. And so that little girl that he's holding in that picture, what's she going to have to deal with? Because we walking around here with our heads in the cloud thinking everything is okay. Jesus is not coming. It ain't happening. So when you ask yourself, how did we get in this position? You seeing it. These two little pictures. These two pictures are showing what's happening. This sister says, make sure we got life insurance for our families. How come we don't have insurance companies? See, you notice that the foreigners come over, and since you're the majority, all they got to do is tell you you're the minority. And you say, yeah, boss, I'm the minority. That's how that works. And they get you to buy into their, and however it works, but where's yours? You used to have them. How do you pay another man to bury you on your land? Please, somebody explain that. Think about that. Think about it. How do other people come make money off of you better than they make it at home? Please, somebody break that down for me. I mean, I know we got some scholars out there. How do people over here come over here and get into your politics and become supervisors over cities where you dominate? Explain that. See, Negroes on this, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Think. And when I say think, this is what I mean. The outside of your body, the part that dies, it is here to do things from the wishes from your thoughts. You are on the inside. You are not, your arm is not listening to me. I'm talking to you, the one that who heartbeat, who has no control of the heartbeat. See, your arm, your legs, your butt, your penis, your hair, your lips has nothing to do with your heart beating. You're in there making it happen. Your physical body is just to get around on this planet and to reproduce yourself. Do what you came here to do. That's it. But the person that I'm talking, or what I'm talking to, it's not your physical body. It's you. And I hope many of you understand that. What you say, you have a voice and your voice means something. So we're going to go ahead and close it out tonight. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and you guys have a nice evening. Peace.